Do you believe in myths? Are you ready to find out the true story and origin behind the beast and creatures on your favorite Funko Pops? Get ready for a brand new series that will chill you to your bone. Welcome to Funko Myths Explained. Welcome to Funko Pop Myths Explained. I'm here with our guests from MythStorie. Once again, Cammy and Brian. We're talking all about Chupacabra. And I'm super excited to do this episode. We got a great story, the history and origin of Chupacabra.
Yep.
We're gonna play a little bit of trivia during this episode and then tie it to pop culture. Why don't we kick it off? And Cammy, you know you got the story for us. Why don't you kick it off and tell us the story of Chupacabra?
Okay, sure. So I used this book, Cryptozoology A to Z. Can you see that?
Nice.
And that was by Lauren Coleman and Jerome Clark. The blood-sucking beast was reported in 1995 in Puerto Rico. That March, the bodies of blood-drained animals, mostly goats, began to turn up around the island cities. The sightings of the animal responsible came in September of that year. It was described as a being, like a gray alien, but with the legs of a kangaroo and the disposition of a gargoyle. The creature was covered in hair and had long fangs and glowing red eyes. It was a small being with thin features, with the exception of its huge hind legs. Its forelegs had long claws that could explain the puncture wounds found on the neck and hindquarters of the animals who were slain. While the frenzy of the actual sightings of the creature has diminished, some people have claimed to find bodies of these beasts since their first sighting. Most of the carcasses have been determined to be raccoons or wild dogs with mange, though there exists a specimen with indeterminate DNA held at a museum in Mexico. And the instances of livestock being drained of bodily fluids are not completely uncommon in Texas and other parts of the U.S. today.
Ew.
Awesome. That's an interesting diet that Chupacabra's on.
It's nutritious.
And I'm excited to Brian and I were talking a little bit about the history and origin. I think people will be surprised at how old really this myth is. I think they're going to be surprised by that.
Yeah, it's funny because when we had first done the podcast, we did this. I can't remember how soon we did it, but it was once we kind of kicked things off a little over a year ago and all that. So we were well into our thing doing the podcast. We decided to talk about it. And I was expecting it because I've taken like classes on ancient Mesoamerican societies, like the Aztecs, Mayas, Incans. And I was expecting it to come from that, like from colonial, older than that. And like, no, it was like a few years, like when I was a baby, like when I was a toddler running around in the 90s. And so, but it is really cool to see that. And I don't know about y'all, but like my first time hearing about it was, I think they were like Nickelodeon cartoons, I'm sure there was episodes where it would just come up in that. And so again, but it just seemed like a myth. You could have had a phoenix on that same episode and I would have associated them with just being old mythical beings.
Yeah.
But much different than that. So when I did my research, I used National Geographic had a great article, and of course Britannica and Wikipedia. And so there was this guy, the thing that really kind of molds up everything. This guy Benjamin Radford, he did a book called Tracking the Chupacabra in 2011, and he really was able to kind of like pull in everything. Again, it's not that long ago, 1995. Not too difficult to like really nail this thing down. And so he went through the eyewitness reports, and so Puerto Rico, 1995 is where it went down. There were these sightings, and that they're kind of their own thing, but it goes down to a sci-fi horror film that came out is what really sparked these things. Now, people reporting attacks isn't anything crazy. Coyotes, wild dogs, all sorts of things can and still do attack, and people will through hysteria or through like, oh, those coyotes attacked my animals and things like that. The weird thing about the Chupacabra, though, is its description. So in many accounts, it was like dog-like, but it was very skinny. It was like rabid-looking. Sometimes it had quills. But in many of the accounts, especially like this guy Radford, in 200, the first like 200 accounts, almost all of them, they were basically describing the alien monster in the movie Species from 1995. And because it has quills, it's leathery, it's gray, it's very weird alien. Just look it up on Wikipedia. It does not look like, or we can maybe show. It
I'll
looks
show
like a
some
really,
images. Yeah.
it looks like a weird movie. Ben Kingsley's in it. What are you doing, Ben? What's going on? So that's kind of the main thing. I mean, the crazy thing is though, there is something that we can kind of talk about. To kind of scientifically explain it, and that's coyotes suffering from mange, a potentially fatal skin disease that can cause the animal's hair to fall out and skin to shrivel, among other things. It's also scabies is the itchy rash. So what they think, because the myth, the legends and the stories went overseas into America and people started talking about it there. And it was pretty similar. I mean, Mothman ended up all over the world. These things happen, but there were certain incidents that happened. Again, coyotes do attack and people see them and they'll be like, whoa, this coyote looked crazy. And what they're thinking is it was suffering from one of these diseases that gave it this, like, once you see its skin, it almost could in the light look leathery or gray. So I think that's really where the scientific explanation is, but that's it. Aside from all that, it's this damn film from the 90s that everyone knows and remembers.
I say, it's all tied to movies, don't it's all, all has something to do with that, it seems. And
right.
And you were saying Puerto Rico, where
Yep.
a lot of these were coming up, and are there other? I mean, you came in when you kind of researched it before. Are there other locations like outside of Puerto Rico that are really saying they're seeing things that they're calling the Chupacabra?
Yeah. So in my research, Mexico has several sightings of it, as well as like Texas, that area, all the way up through like Oklahoma. Anywhere that there are large groupings of livestock, you're going to have predators trying to attack the livestock. And I mean, some of them might have mange,
Yeah.
You do have a lot. Even there's some reports from like the 408, CE of livestock having their blood drained, which is, I think it's a different discussion, but grouping those two things together, you could see, oh, maybe Chupacabra has been around, or maybe this is a Chupacabra.
Yeah, it could be kids like messing around doing some really crazy crap. One thing too that's really interesting is like so 1995 is when the movie came out, when these sightings started, but by the year 2000, it changed the description of the Chupacabra as it had come into North America, the main continent, and spread. It changed from a bipedal alien quilled thing to a four-legged coyote dog-like creature. Like it's if you look at those original reports and then the later reports, like just within 5 years, it completely went from like what it started as to like if you think Chupacabra, what you imagine it as, this like dog-like creature. So that was just something that was really interesting, is that it stuck so hard onto that once it really started picking up in America and Mexico.
Right. Yeah. And that was just something just so shocked to see that it's in the 90s. Like, this is when this thing just really started picking up and going. I was really shocked at that, because most of the stuff we find is really ancient. Yeah. This is an interesting one to see. And we're going to tie Chupacabra in and show you in just a few minutes where is Chupacabra showing up in pop culture, today. But I do have some trivia questions for Cammy and Brian. And if you're playing at home, see if you know the answers to these two. And of course, hey, for bringing some value and entertainment to you today, if you hadn't already, hit that subscribe button in the bottom corner. If you're already subscribed, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for us. So we're going to get some trivia questions. And Cammy and Brian, I know you got something to write with. And we're going to put these messages up. We're going to try to do some questions maybe we didn't hit in the story and origin. So I'm going to give you a question and give you 4 choices and let you guys write it down. Okay. Just show me on the screen. Don't say it out. Show it on the screen, and then we'll go from there, give you a point, whoever gets it right. Okay.
Beautiful.
All right. So the first one, and you guys, we probably did talk about this a little bit, but what does the name Chupacabra mean? Is it dog devourer, chicken killer, goat sucker, or eye eater? All right, here we go. Is it both of you put goat sucker? You're both correct. It is goat sucker. So you're both on the board with a point. All right, good job.
We
good
said that
job.
so many times on the episode we recorded. We said goat sucker so many
Yeah,
times.
let's put a hashtag in the bottom for this episode. Hashtag goat sucker.
Oh yeah, sucking goats, y'all.
In 2000, a farmer who claimed to have shot and killed a chupacabra was located where? Was it Japan, Nicaragua, Israel, or Florida? A farmer claimed to have shot and killed a chupacabra. Where was he located? This was in 2000.
What was the middle?
We have Japan, Nicaragua, Israel, or Florida.
I don't want to put. See, I'm going to be bold.
It is actually Nicaragua.
There you go.
I just thought, like, Florida, there's a lot of guns there.
You're off on this one, Florida.
We're just putting Florida man space shoots the chupacabra.
That farmer in Nicaragua was born and raised in Florida. Actually, fun fact.
He probably was.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll do two more. We'll do two more, and then we'll go to pop culture. So, the creature is most often reported as being how tall? How tall is a chupacabra? Is it 1 to 2 feet, 9 to 10 feet, 6 to 7 feet, or 3 to 4 feet? How tall is your chupacabra? You both are correct. Good job. 3 to 4 feet. 3 to 4 feet. Good job, guys. We'll do one last one. One last trivia question.
All right.
All right, here we go. What is often reported to occur around the same time as a sighting of a chupacabra? Is it an earthquake, a shooting star, thunderstorms, or UFO sightings?
Ooh.
Dun, 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 dun. It is actually UFO sightings. Sammy, you got that one right. That's going to bring us to a tie. That's going to bring us to a tie. The other questions, I had a couple other questions. We kind of went over those, so we're gonna give it as a tie today. We'll do a tie. We'll see what happens in the next episode. So if you voted for Cammy or Bryant today, you were both right.
That was good. That was really good.
Good job, guys. Good job. All right, so let's tie in. We're gonna talk a little bit. We'll put some images up as we go. Talk about the chupacabra in pop culture today. So there's some sightings they've seen. I've got this information actually from website chupacabraweekly.com.
Oh,
so
thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
This week in Chupacabra,
I don't know
much.
I don't know. There was so much going on, but obviously there's enough to cover it every week.
Yeah.
So in a Marvel comic book release in 2007, there was a group of chupacabras that were featured as antagonists, and we got the image up. It's actually the things on the front of it, and it's the Isla de la Muerta, and there was so he's fighting off. I guess there's the chupacabras in this comic book, so that was interesting to see. There is a popular example in Scooby-Doo and the Monster of Mexico, where the chupacabra is portrayed as the villain and a Mexican Bigfoot. I don't know if you guys have seen the Scooby-Doo and the Monster of Mexico, but chupacabra's featured in that as well. Next up, there is a Super Furry Animals, which is a Welsh band, has a song on their 1997 album Radiator called Chupacabras. I was listening to that on Spotify, and I'll try to link that in the description. Very interesting sound. I'll say that.
Sounds like a Mad Lib.
Yeah,
a Welsh band with a Mexican animal. That's crazy.
It's interesting to say the least.
Yeah,
we'll have the images up for that too as we go. And then lastly, in Mexico, and this is probably easy to believe, in Mexico and the United States, chupacabra tours are set up to real tourists to see a real chupacabra. These tours are usually expensive and are a hoax to lure people in. And there's an image that has chupacabra sighting tours, and it's got $400 at your own risk on the image. So
terrible.
Yeah, if you guys want to go on a tour to see a Chupacabra, make sure you go ahead and pay that $400. So
what a great way to use your stimulus.
That's right.
Just
have 1,000 left over for whatever else.
yeah.
Maybe get a souvenir.
Honey, we could see it 3 times.
So yeah, that's where the Chupacabra showing up in pop culture. We kind of like to end these episodes with Cammy and Brian. And where are we on the believability that Chupacabra exists or something that people believe? You got the truth is out there. The truth is out there. What do y'all think? What do y'all think?
It's a mangy dog. It's got or whatever coyote.
Yeah. Yeah, if there was any evidence that really dated back even further, maybe. I mean, it's so weird how compelling something like Bigfoot is compared to this when they're very similar in a lot of ways, but it just doesn't hold like any water. So yeah, it's just, yeah, it's a coyote having a bad hair day. Just the wild thing is how it started as a green quilled bipedal alien and then evolved into the mangy. So that's the best part about it. But sadly, that's where it stops.
Yeah. Well, that was an interesting episode. Love to hear the origin history of it, and Cammy, love the story behind it. I'm gonna show you guys the pop real quick because I do have this in. I was lucky enough to get this in a recent collection. I'm gonna blow this up a little bit so you guys can see it, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But here you go. Here is the Chupacabra, and hopefully he looks just like you imagine. They did a great job on him. And again, this one, I love the back artwork on it. Yeah, you kind of got that Texas kind of look on the back, maybe like Arizona type look. I love the artwork they did on it. This one came out, and this was 2019 when it came out. And the good thing is this one's actually a little cheaper than some of the other ones we've shown. This one actually has a trending value right now of $37, so a little bit cheaper. If you like that one, you can pick it up. They're
it
not
looks like
available.
It's got the quills on it too. Like
it does. They did a good job on the design of that one. They really nailed it. So we'll bring this back down. If you enjoyed today's episode, now MythStorie right here, you can find them in the description. They talk about other myths besides ones tied to Funko Pops. Make sure you check them out. Subscribe to the podcast if you're not already. Help them out too. And that's how you spell it. MythStorie, STORIE. Cammy Bryant, thank you so much again for coming on today. Had a great episode. Hey, we'll look forward to bringing more to you again. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button. We'll be back with more Funko Pop myths, so stay tuned and we'll see you in the next video.
Woo!